I noticed that in the relationship with my spouse, that most of our tensions revolve around money. And I made a commitment, a lifelong commitment to my spouse. So really, if most of our tensions come around money, then I have to make a commitment to solve that crisis when it comes and solve that tension point. To make sure that our lives are better and we have a higher quality of life because we're not so worried about money, simply because we took control of our money. We were just like everybody else. We racked up massive amounts of credit card debt. We bought a house. That gave us the ability to rack up even more credit card debt because you could refinance the house and use the house as a credit card. Just to have the things that you want to have. Things happen in life. The economy tanks. All of a sudden your house isn't worth as much. Jobs disappear. Pay cuts happen. Responsibilities grow. It doesn't take very much for your responsibilities to just become completely overwhelming. As much as it was hard at first to start the process of figuring out where we spend our money, ultimately, because we took those steps, we will be able to achieve all the things that we want in a better light because we have a plan.
In my work as a CPA and in my work with nonprofits before I got to the diocese, I've worked with a lot of people who struggle with financing and with budgeting. And sometimes it's more emotional than practical. Sometimes it's about pushing away an unknown or sort of pushing away a complexity that people are having trouble facing. If you know how you're spending your money, then it creates freedom in your life, in your financial life, and in your whole life. If people are living paycheck to paycheck, a lot of times they unfortunately don't really know what they're spending their money on. And so how do you move away from living paycheck to paycheck? If you can get to a place of really choosing how you spend your money, it's incredibly empowering and it sort of simplifies your life because you know that your money is going toward what's important.
If you want to identify me, ask me not where I live, or what I like to eat, or how I comb my hair, but ask me what I am living for. In detail, ask me what I think is keeping me from living fully for the thing I want to live for.
We all have different choices that we want to make, and what's important to us and what's our passion and what's most important is different for all of us. So you can get to a place through budgeting, believe it or not, you can get to a place through budgeting where you celebrate that your money is going toward what is most important. And that brings peace. And it also brings an emotional health and an emotional simplicity.
Our society has entered into a very dangerous cycle of living beyond our means, which requires us to work extra hard to live beyond our means, which requires us to have less sleep, less play, and more caffeine in order to do the work, in order to live the life that we think we need. And the cycle of overstimulation and overcaffeination and underplay and underrest and underpraying is going to, if we don't do something about it, is going to lead us down a very dangerous path, individually and corporately. And so this budgeting video is part of a bunch of other tools that the church is designing to help us to stop and look at our lives and say, so how are things going? In monastic life, we call it recollection. In the monastic tradition, you recollect at the end of every day. And they're always the same three questions. What went well? What didn't go well? And what would I've done differently? And so this budgeting video, this conversation we're having around money and personal finance, is about recollection around money, recollection around budgeting. How am I doing? What's working? What's not working? What needs to be done differently?
My main inspiration these days is a refugee that I've been working with from Sierra Leone, who is not with his family, and for 7 years he has been working hard to get his family to come to the U.S. to be with him. He had to leave because of the war. And he is a supreme example of focus and choice, because he doesn't have a lot of money. He's a refugee. He works part-time. But he is so clear about his priorities. So he knows everything in his financial life is directed toward that goal. And just working with him, I also realize how much I have. You know, he is not a wealthy man, but he has peace because he is making progress toward his goals. And just being with him, I realize how much I have in my life, and it helps me appreciate what I have and also refocus what's important and remember about simplicity and the power of that. It's really powerful. This is a man who he knows that he's living according to his values, and that creates peace. And he doesn't have control over, you know, how much income he makes. He doesn't have complete control in his life, but he does know that he is on his track. He's following his path.
There's really not a whole lot of education that goes into budgeting. I mean, I didn't learn about budgeting in high school. I didn't learn about budgeting in college. You know, none of us were forced to take a course in personal finance to make sure that, you know, over our lifetime we'd be okay, you know? So those concepts were never there. And when those concepts are never there, it forces you to search them out if you're proactive enough. The other thing that stops people from budgeting is that, or at least stopped us, is that when we did become proactive, we found out that we were misinformed a lot of times. You know, we either went to the wrong people. You know, when you get advice from your broke family, that may not be the best place to go to get advice. So we were getting a lot of misinformation. And then ultimately what that leads to is just a failure to plan, because you don't know what you're doing. When you do try to find something, you're getting the wrong advice, and then you just don't even take the steps necessary because, heck, why bother? Why bother? And it was funny, a friend of mine pointed out that a person will spend more time planning a 2-week vacation than they will planning for something like retirement or a plan to get out of debt or just a budget per se.
Almighty God, to you all hearts are open, all desires known, and from you no secrets are hid. Cleanse the thoughts of our hearts by the inspiration of your Holy Spirit, that we may perfectly love you and worthily magnify your holy name. Through Christ our Lord. Amen.
If you're having trouble with the idea of budgeting, I have an idea or two about things you could try to sort of get closer to this process. And one thing that I think of is we spend money because we think we want something. And my first exercise that you might try is, if you have an idea of something that you want, you might put it on the refrigerator or write it on a piece of paper next to your bed and wait a while. And I think that you might find in a week or even a few days that your relationship with that desire is different over time. So, you know, you might have had a strong impulse to spend money on something that actually isn't really in line with your what's most important to you. So deferring gratification is a great strategy that anyone can try.
There comes a moment when there arises in the soul that is seeking union with God a movement that the soul is at a loss to describe. It moves you to desire you know not what, only that what you desire is beyond your imagining. It is God at work within you.
Another idea about getting closer to budgeting is to think of, to try saving in a small way. And if you're spending more than you're making, then you probably aren't saving. So, and again, financial freedom comes with saving. So what you can do is if you set aside your money for the week and then subtract a little bit from it and take, say, $5 and put it in a cookie jar. And so as you're going about your week, you have less money. So as you're going to eat your lunch, as you're going to, on Friday night, as you're going out to meet a friend, or just on your way home, if you have less money, it creates a feeling of, what am I going to choose? So it gives you a little exercise in that choosing, conscious choosing. And you can do it from a place of, you can, instead of looking at it as scarcity, you can look at it, you can celebrate that you have this money that you're going to spend, and what will I choose with this money? If you get through the week and you still have $5 in the cookie jar, next week you could put $6 in. And obviously you can really start to save this way, and that's really the path to financial freedom. And I think it creates an idea of simplicity and balance. So what you're trying to do is get your spending pattern in balance with your income. If you have so much fun with the cookie jar that you're ready to actually do some budgeting, you can break it down a little bit by just looking at a week. Just take a piece of paper and write 7 days across it, and go through your day and keep track of your spending for 1 week. And you know what your income was, and then when you track your expenditures, and at the end of the week, if you have less money than you should have, that tells you there's some expenses that you didn't record. So I think it's a useful exercise in helping people really understand how the money is being spent. And in a larger organization, there may also be some surprises, but it just helps to break it down into sort of the regular operations, and to give you a little more knowledge about what your financial life is now. And that helps you with knowledge to move toward where you want to be.